Oh,
it's not working.
okay. First of all, are you calling
Whatever.
a butler? What?
I don't know. You know what? It's just not working.
Theory, remind me to order bells. We need real
please.
bells.
We need some bells that we can ding. Hey guys, welcome to Anchor Watch and our Below Deck weekly late night chat where we take over Up and Adam's channel to talk all things Below Deck. And what a freaking Below Deck,
Dude! This season,
this has been, right?
Jason, this season, like, let's face it, we've been doing the show over a year now,
Jesus,
almost
really?
weekly, and some of those seasons are snooze fest to get through. You and I are sometimes, let's be honest, kind of scraping the barrel on things to talk about. Not this season.
No, not this season.
Plenty.
Not this season. It's so crazy, but people are still complaining, right? Like, I mean, I guess that's just what we're going to get all the time when it comes to like Bravo shows and stuff like that. But before we get started, guys, if you haven't done so already, 60 in the room, hit that like button. It helps us out so much. And if you guys, you ever don't catch the show and you want to listen to it in your ears ad-free, you can always catch Anchor Watch on our podcast, Hot and Messy Podcast, the next day. Although this episode is going to go out Thursday, just because we have a few special guests this week. But to get back to the point, Josh, I mean, a lot of people have a lot of things to say about Captain Sandy, Frasier, all kinds of stuff.
Okay, so should we... Yeah, let's cover what others have said. We'll kind of editorialize and share kind of our thoughts. And then I think after this, you and I could give kind of our official stance, our state of the union of
of how season 10 Below Deck is going. I want to give a quick shout out to Camille. Thank you so much for giving us a season to watch. Okay. As much as we want to, blame Camille for everything, we are not blaming her for these ratings.
And while Captain Sean is ashore, be assured, we will have him.
I just sipped my tea when you said that. Oh my
God, I wanted to see you spread that everywhere. Okay, no, folks, while we have Captain Sean ashore, we will have him on tonight in a little bit to answer some of your questions. You guys have been sending in some awesome questions. I still think my question about the poop deck is probably my favorite, but
maybe we can get a repeat performance of that.
Okay, Jason, what are people saying?
Well, lots of people are saying lots of things, okay? And I want to start because I want to get to what Camille said on Instagram. But before we do, I want to go through some things I saw on Twitter that made me kind of like, I almost said yes, and then I kind of, stood back a little bit. So here, Michael at 1L says, how I guess he meant, how could you reprimand Frasier? You're why I stopped watching Below Deck. This is replying to Captain Sandy here, okay? You didn't know half the facts, but let the two bullies keep on going and then turn on a chief stew who has been excellent and berate him for not doing his job. No, just no. I'm out for this new season, Below Deck Sandy. Now, really quick, I have to say the reason I stopped watching Below Deck Med was Natasha and Dave. But that's a different story. Last week on my podcast, I found myself defending Frasier because people on social media were going after him because he's MIA, apparently too good for his job to not be good television. Now this week, Sandy's in the hot seat because Camille is not fired yet. Here's another one. Please stay consistent. You say no more pushback, and that's what she did. And you didn't fire her, then you blamed Frasier? Not cool, says Just Roseanne.
I have some opinions on these tweets, but keep going if you want to read some more, and then I'll share. I think these people are in the wrong, but go ahead.
I'm gonna have to say so too. Listen, people are looking for a reason to not like Captain Sandy right now. First, it was Frasier. Now Frasier is the victim because, he's not. Here's point in case.
Share some more, and then I'm going to share my thoughts.
Point in case. Here we go. So Gabriella, who we loved her on the season, love her here too. Now Frasier is getting the heat because Camille wasn't let go weeks ago, as she should have. Now remember that this show only films for 6 weeks, so this is Captain Sandy's second charter, right? Mm-hmm. So, okay. Also, wait, really quick, she's the 10th captain. and we talked
But
about.
we're going read, Jason, then we will
Okay.
share our thoughts.
Okay. This is Fraser's first time being Chief Stew on this show, but not his first time being Chief Stew. He probably was under immense pressure. I do think he has star power and can be on for the next 5 seasons, which I do agree with. I said this on my podcast last week. He'll come out of his shell and he's so nice to look at. Agreed. My thing is,
do you have any more tweets before you share this?
No.
Or are we long? Okay, go, and then I'm going to say my piece.
I'm just going to say, this is our temp captain. She's not rocking the boat. She's 2 charters in. She's learning this crew. And I'm not making excuses for Captain Sandy, but here people are all the time being like, let's have women supporting women, especially in this industry where being at Captain Sandy's caliber is really hard to get to as a female.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, oh, she's only supporting Camille and Katie. Even Fraser was supporting Camille last week, or even this week, when he said, you know, I had a rough start too when I was in that position, and that's why I didn't want to get rid of her. Now, captains rely heavily, and this is a question for Captain Sean too, on their heads of departments to kind of soothe over situations or take care of situations. That's why they're in that position. And again, like I said just last week, I was defending Fraser for everyone on social media going after him, saying that he was MIA and not suitable for this job. Where is Kate Chastain? I'm confused. How do you feel about this?
Okay, so a couple things. First off, we got to look at what Captain Sandy reprimanded her chief stew about. So, first of all, she did reprimand Fraser. We
got to get used to this.
Thank you to those of you who called us out in the comments. We are learning. We are slow Americans. We are getting back to our pronunciation. Fraser. So she called him out. What she called him out for, if you remember, was she was asking Camille for her side of the story. Fraser, they were in the galley too, eating.
Yep.
Right here. And Fraser came in and was like, hey, we don't need to talk about this. This can wait, sort of thing. I get what he was doing, because he was actually trying to like kind of bring down the heat. It felt like bring down the situation. But Captain Sandy said, hey, I'm the captain. Don't do that to me. Don't ever do that. When I say I want to talk to someone, I want to hear it. That's when I want to hear it. And so I get what she was doing there. This wasn't about Fraser's performance. This wasn't about anything. She called him out on that. Now, what she also did was she did say, I want you to step up and handle this situation. Give me recommendations on what you think should be done. She was challenging a new leader to step up. She was treating it as a teaching situation. We've seen her time and time again treat different things as teaching situations. This was yet another time where she was doing that. I don't think she did anything out of line. And you know what? She's landing at the place that we all kind of knew she would or should land at, right?
Right.
And in doing so, she actually gave Fraser the opportunity to be the one to make that call. He stepped up. He made the right call. So when all is said and done, you may not understand the methodology in the moment, but what is the outcome? They are clearing the deck of a problem. She asked her chief stew to step up and do something that takes some balls and sometimes won't make you popular, but makes you a good leader. I think all roads lead home, and we're right where we wanted to be. So I think she was in the right. He was in the right.
Yeah.
Camille was in the wrong. So
listen, Camille was the problem. She was the common denominator, as Captain Sandy had said. Norma, I do agree with this comment here. Yep. Captain Sandy was giving him a teaching moment. I think as a temporary captain filling in for someone else's, position, I'm sure, and we can ask Captain Sean this too, like what authority she has. I'm sure the same authority as Captain Lee would have, right? Because she is
100%
manning the ship. Yep. But to come in and be 2 charters in and not really know what's going on, not really knowing how people work and work together, and for her to figure that out, I think she's giving Camille a chance to step it up. And at the same time, she's giving Fraser, giving Fraser a chance to step up and be like, I need to make a decision. And
Well, again,
Sometimes it's not always the best.
something you point out, second charter. So to us, she's been on the boat for 4 weeks. Why
Yeah,
can't she
it's
do something?
crazy.
In real time, she's been on the boat about a week, right? Possibly a day over or two with, in between times between charters. So it's like, guys, within a week's time, she's firing someone off the crew. So you got to understand, like, that's a lot to ask of someone. I would have a lot of trepidation firing someone that isn't really my crew. I'm stepping in and helping, support another captain until they're able to come back. Oh, by the way, when you get back, I let one of your people go. Wait, what? So it's like, I get it. I think she exercised some caution in doing that. But here's my thing. Here we go. Muriel just brought up, I still wish Alyssa, wait, what did she say? I still wish that Alyssa left. So here is the other thing. There is still a lot of people calling her out and saying she's a bully for how she acted. I disagree, but I do see their point of view. What I will say is I do still think, like right now it's being treated as Camille's a problem. She's being booted. I would like to see in the next episode a moment where Captain Sandy pulls Alyssa aside and says, okay, great. You're still here. Here's the deal. You get 3 strikes. You use 2 of them already. By yelling like that in front of guests, that still does not, you were still in the wrong, and you are very in the wrong. And I will boot your ass next if you do something like that again. Like,
I see that point too. Just because Alyssa was put into the second stew position, and she really does. I think Alyssa cares a lot, and I think that's why she doesn't want to disappoint Fraser. She doesn't want to disappoint anyone, and I think Alyssa is a little more on top of it than, let's say, Camille. It's not that hard, right? But she does kind of bite at Camille a little bit, and then wants to kind of argue. That's how it felt when they had their last incident. This incident right here. It's like you could have, as the second stew, let it go here and just be like, you know what? We're going to talk later. Because this situation right here, Alyssa is still serving. She is still working. And after this fight, it kind of just gives you bad energy, and you still have to change your demeanor and service these guests. Like, put it to bed. Like, I almost lost respect for Alyssa just as much as I don't have respect for Camille, because you're still going back and forth with literally a brick wall. You're not going to get through to her.
Takes 2 to dance, So, and they were partners for that tango. So they're both to blame still. I definitely am not giving Alyssa a pass on that one. I can see where her frustration was rising, and she was taking it out in ways that wasn't professional.
Right.
But yeah. I mean, people calling her a bully, it's hard for me to defend against that. I will say that. So
yeah, I gotta agree with you. Okay, so here we go. And a lot of people are saying they've lost respect for Alyssa as well too. Listen, I think that everyone is gonna have a huge comeback after we get rid of Camille. I think we're all gonna like Captain Sandy again. Fraser is gonna step it up because, like I said on the podcast too, he's in a warm-up phase. I see him here for the long run. And that's, I agree with Gabby's tweet here. Like, his star is about to shine, and we will see it. I promise. Okay.
I mean, this is great. We're watching a new Chief Stew come into his own, and this was a challenge. Now, I do think he's the kind of person who learns from his mistakes and learns quickly. And I think, look, we've all had at one job or another, or in part of an organization you've been a part of, or part of a club. There are people that are these kind of cancerous people, and they start to become a black hole and just pull down everyone around them. You have to get rid of those people. And, maybe there's a defense for this and a defense for that and a defense for this with Camille. And maybe there's an excuse for this, an excuse for that. But you know what? There's just so much smoke around her that we have to finally admit there's a fire. So,
yeah, there's a common denominator. It's happening. And I want to bring some stuff up from Camille really quick before we bring Sean up, and then we'll finish recapping this episode. But I mean, listen, Camille has done one thing, and that's left us with things to talk about, right? So I want to bring up what she posted on Instagram and read it. I just want to bring this up so we see it's her Instagram, so I'm not just like making this up. Oh, really quick. There was, before the new episode, there was a never before scenes behind the scenes, like kind of below deck, right? Where they show scenes that weren't actually put into the episode. And Camille was FaceTiming and on the phone with her dad saying, oh, I don't know if they like me. They think I'm like, not doing enough. And he said, well, you are, you're a little lazy, so you should probably get to work. I forgot exactly what he said. Hold on. He said, well, you don't really like to work, so stop being so slow and lazy. And I was like, oh, that's telling when your own dad is telling you to get to work,
Well, that's 51 Minds going, we don't want to reveal the ending. So,
Yes.
they held back that.
They're like, stop.
Yeah.
Okay, so
your own dad's calling you out and going, you're a lazy ass. It's like, well,
it's hard to argue, right?
Yes.
So Camille went to her Instagram and posted, she's been pretty like on social media arguing with Captain Lee, back on Twitter.
Which is always a good move. Which is always
as she does. She said in her first little story on Instagram, I'm not going to allow this narrative to be the narrative. That turnover day, everyone is drinking. That day is designed to appear as if we are working all day, which we are doing some things. Sorry. But also one by one taken off the boat for hours to do interviews, confessionals, they call them, where they offer you drinks or better yet, truth serum, which is true because when they film Vanderpump Rules, they don't actually start rolling cameras until the cast is like 2 drinks in. Yeah. So I can see that. Like, if I want a good show, I'm going to give you a few drinks before, that's fine. So I was already sauced up for my interview, went back to the boat, finished what I had left and opened some champagne. Frasier said when we finish our jobs, champagne time, he said we could drink. So I opened the champagne that I saw Frasier use for tip meetings. Now, obviously, she doesn't know what VOOV is. So she just assumed whatever. Anyway, let's not even finish that. Let's go to the next one. When some of these photos were in, wait, hold on. When some of those photos were rooms I didn't do, when I was on the dock, a producer asked me to go talk to Katie on the dock about our crew night. Then Frasier called me out about clocking off early, not saying it was all a setup, but it certainly felt like one. Blah, blah, blah. This is a lot of excuses. So I don't know. Like, listen, we've said this before. Production, right? They can't edit you too much because when you are being filmed on this vessel, right? You have this small boat. I forgot how many cameras there actually are. We'll have to ask Captain Sean, but there are so many. You're getting everything. It's really hard to get a bad edit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. Listen, what is the chat saying? I'm curious.
A lot of like, Josh, you're a genius. We love what you're saying.
No one said that.
Keep going. Why is Jason on the show?
Let me block all the chat room really quick. I think it's Camille's like first time doing a reality show. On a reality show, you are not there to look good. They're going to make a story. You are an easy target. You're lazy. You don't really want to work. You have issues with people. That's just how it goes. And also, like, the last scene in this episode where she is just horrifically drunk, twerking, climbing on the walls, being really loud while people are trying to get some sleep. Already Tony can't sleep because Ben and Camille are, banging above him. So, like, he can't get any sleep. No one can get sleep. I don't know. Camille, it was just time to go. It's time to go. And I'm curious to see what kind of reaction we're going to get on the next episode now that Captain Sandy has told her, hey, I got to let you go. I'm so sorry.
So my wife and I always joke about, you ever watch any of Gordon Ramsay shows like Hell's Kitchen? Mm-hmm. He'll go like, so-and-so, remove your coat and put on this one because you're staying. And everyone's like, oh my God, they get a heart attack. They think they're about to be booted. And I just thought, like, what if? Because we've not seen her get fired yet. We heard her say, "I'm gonna let you go," and then I told Natalie, "What if it starts with, I'm not really, but I wanted you to feel what it would feel like to hear those words," and blah blah, or you know what I mean? Like, you get one more chance. What if they do that to us? What if Captain Sandy throws us for a loop, and next episode she goes, "I'm just screwing with you, but that's how quickly it could be done. I could let you go at a moment's notice." I'm just saying, I'm gonna call it here. That if that happens, I'm gonna look like a genius. If it doesn't happen, I never said it. I want to erase the show. Okay, we need a break from this.
Hold on. So Sadie Lady said Camille was on American Idol. It's not her first reality show.
She was.
And I heard she was good. Yeah, so she was on American Idol, which is not a reality show. It's a competition show. So I'm sure she was good at that. And I've heard she was good at that. A lot of people in the chat are even saying that. But this just, I mean, even so, like, do you want to go back on American Idol? Do you want any kind of job after this? Because I don't know.
Well, here you go.
I don't know.
Sadie Lady saying that Fraser actually said she is done. So
yeah. Okay, good. I just want to see her reaction because I don't think it's going to be an easy one. You know, it's not like, I get it. It's not like Reagan. When Sandy told Reagan on Below Deck Med, "Hey, I'm so sorry.
She's
what
like,
the hell are you doing as a bosun?"
"Okay, bye," and just walks off.
"Bye.
No, I want to
grab my bags."
Yeah, I want to see Camille just lose it and just start like biting the the stair rails. Just
she's like, "Ben, help me."
Okay, let's take a break from this. I'm like, this is just too much. Let's get Captain Sean in here.
Let's get Captain Sean. We have some questions for him. Hey, Captain Sean. Good evening. Ooh, got to spill tea all over my face.
Ahoy, Captain Sean.
Ahoy to you too.
Ahoy. Welcome back.
Boy,
Okay.
thank you.
Have you've had to have had situations where you've had to like kind of cut the cancer out of a crew, right?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, I said that on my episode in Below Deck. It's like I'm very good at, I'm not very good at cracking the whip, but I'm excellent at swinging an axe. And no,
that needs to be on a shirt.
Yeah, no, it's true. And the like N-Dub gave me the little axe symbol. Thank you there, N-Dub. But the no, it's just thank you. Good evening, Tess. Good to see you. Yes, I do. I swing that axe. Swing that axe. No,
back that axe up.
It's just easier. I don't get mad. I don't get emotional. But I mean, Josh, you nailed it. You've got that one person that's like a cancer, and as soon as you pull it out, it frees up a lot of energy. I was on I stepped in this thing with Captain Sandy. I had to do very much the same thing on a boat. It was a really cool boat. It was run by a friend of mine. He actually had to go to Michael Jordan's wedding. But anyway.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. And so anyway, I stepped in for him. And while he was gone, he's like, "Hey, if you want to fire anybody, feel free." So the chief stew and the chef were both awful. They weren't getting along. I was 2 days into this charter and I fired the chief stew. And the problem was she was dating the chef. So I went down.
Ooh.
No, but I went down to the galley. I said, "Hey, by the way, we got to let her go." And he says, "Well, if she goes, I go." And I said, "Well, no one holds a gun to my head." And he said, "Who's going to cook?" And I said, "I am." And and I have 4 days of Michelin star cuisine. I think I've said this before. 4 days of Michelin star cuisine in me, and that's about it. And that gave me enough time to get another chief stew and another.
Wow, so it was like a package deal. They were like, "If you're not keeping her, I gotta go."
Yeah, but the chef sucked. So I mean, they both were lousy. It was just, I mean.
Okay, so what do you do in this situation? Because right now on Below Deck, Captain Sandy is dealing with a situation where she's coming in to fill in for Captain Lee.
Yeah.
Who will be back at the end of the season, and then that is it. But you filled in for Captain Lee.
Yeah.
So that's something you and Captain Sandy have in common. but she's coming in to fill in. I don't think she really wants to like get rid of anyone right away. Do you rely on your heads of department, or are you really kind of in on the mix where you want to see what's going on and you can kind of overstep the department head and be like, we got to fix this now? Or do you want the department head to make the decision to maybe let someone go?
Yeah, Frazier's not. I've worked with Frazier too. He's not stupid, and so he's seen the same problems. And you don't see. I mean, it's a 45-minute show, so you don't see the other 23 hours and 15 minutes that have taken place. So he's probably said, "Hey, look, we've got," and you might even see that, I don't know, in recaps or whatever. It's like we gotta fix this. At least I hope. I'm pretty sure he's savvy enough to do it. But it's funny. I was reading one of the comments. Is like he's got to get used to firing people, and it is part of being the boss. I had we hired a guy on board Latitude, and I loved him. He was a great guy. I supported him. I've written him letters of recommendation, but I knew he wasn't right for the team. And my first officer wanted to hire him, and I said, "Okay, he's your responsibility." So after we did the first Northwest Passage, he says, "Oh, we got to let this guy go." And I said, "Oh no, you have to let this guy go." And it really pained him because my mate he's a really great guy, and he didn't want to hurt anybody, but it was a lesson that you have to make the right decisions for the crew.
And I think that was great for Captain Sandy to give him that responsibility.
Oh, 100% was the right thing to do. Yeah, 100%.
We had this comment earlier. Finally, it wasn't until Captain Sandy's snub. That's when Frazier opened his eyes to Camille's poor work ethic and I don't care attitude. Great job, Captain Sandy. And hey, sometimes it takes like a little, hey, you got to do something about it. It's your department.
100%.
This is a lesson for you to learn and to learn how to manage your department.
A good captain sometimes gently puts their boot up the ass of one of their crew and gets them to work, right? I mean,
yeah, it's like, and again, the cracking the whip is up to your heads of department. I have a thing with, like, if you want to, like, my door was always open if you want to talk to me about something. And I would keep whatever that was in confidence if you had like a problem with a crew. But if you're going to call a crew member out in front of everyone and it gets to my level, be prepared for an answer that you might not like.
No, yikes.
Well, hey, let's Captain Sean, people have been writing in questions. I know Jason has some. People write to you directly.
Yeah, I've got a few too.
When Captain Sean's available, we do drag him onto the show and make him answer your questions. So if you guys have questions, you can leave them in the comments below. Hit up Jason and I through our social media stuff. You can hit up Captain Sean directly through his social media. We'll recap everybody's ats and stuff like that before Captain Sean leaves. But I know you guys have some questions. Let's hit Captain Sean with some of these questions.
I have one. It was actually from last week. From Jay-Z Cards. By the way, thank you so much for the compliments. We appreciate it. Love every one of these. We love you. By the way, Captain Sean didn't answer the question about if the captain shares in tips.
Absolutely.
Do they? Okay, they do.
Yeah.
I thought Captain Sean answered that last week. I thought.
No, I didn't. We went off on a tangent.
Yeah.
And,
as we tend to do.
But, yeah, and that was like, no, we do share in the tips, and it's like there's been times when I like one charter that I did. Like the charter gave the crew like $500 each, and he gave me like $2,000. And I have full transparency when it comes to tips on board, so I kicked in the other 1,500 into everybody's tips right there, because I think everyone needs to share equally, and that's from the girl doing the girl doing the laundry, the guy doing the laundry, to whoever. I mean, sometimes you'll have a charter where you'll get one of the crew will just be the hero of that charter for some reason. So we share equally. And I think that's a much better incentive. And again, going back to the boats that I've run, the charter boats that I've run, I've had junior stews in, one season make like, 90 grand in tips.
Wow. How long is a typical season?
17 weeks of charter, but
17 weeks.
that was grueling. But at the end of that one,
Wow.
Well, and I
Some
just
good
think,
money in yachting.
well, who'd imagine? Captain Sean, I do think too. I like that idea of like when it comes to the tips, just democratic across the board. Everybody gets the same, because then there are those times where it's like a good captain could turn their crew and go, "Hey, I'm not asking anything of you. I wouldn't ask of myself.
100%.
We're all in this together." I see the value in, and sort of the trust it buys from them and the respect it buys from them. Like that's worth its weight in gold.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So I have another question from Rusty Toddler.
Is smashing while on charter.
We have a lot of naughty yachties, the big tip buoys. Everyone's in the chat, right? So we gotta.
Are you allowed to dock your boat while guests are on board?
The question is, Captain Sean is smashing. This is
smashing what, Rusty Toddler?
Is smashing while on charter accepted on board?
I'm smashing even while off charter. But anyway,
God,
I think we need some more. No, I think we know where that's going. And listen.
Oh, and by the way, so the Veuve Clicquot,
yes,
that's not great shit. It's like that was the stuff that we served the guy like fixing the air conditioner on my boat. But anyway, just saying.
Yeah. Stop by Captain Sean's to wipe the gold.
What would you serve your VIPs?
The VIPs? Well, that's like, that would be probably the Louis Rosé and vintage years, and then any of the Dom vintage, Bollinger vintage. Like there's vintage. Now that's a screw up. Like if you get a bottle of like the Louis Cristal, and we've got the normal Louis, and then you get the vintage Louis, and like a normal bottle of Louis, I think it's like $500 or whatever. But you get the vintage Louis, like they're like $3,000-$4,000. That's a screw up.
Jeez.
God. This is actually kind of an interesting question here from Brian. Honest question was, so on this charter, these guests that we just watched on Below Deck, they were awful. Thank goodness they're gone. I couldn't agree.
Brian. Good question though.
But was 20,000 unacceptable for the charter where the guests thought the food was hit or miss and observing the crew fight?
What, they left a $20,000 tip?
Yes.
Was on a 4-day charter.
2 days?
3?
3 maybe.
Yeah, I'm not really sure.
How many crews? Was a crew of 10 on board?
Well, they have Fraser and plus 3 stews, and then the bosun. Yeah.
Total.
Well, the guys behind the scenes get there's the
engineers,
first mate, and then the engineers all get a chunk of that as well too. So on board that boat, that's a fairly big boat. I bet there's a crew of like the total crew is probably 14. So, that's about a grand and change each for everybody for a couple of days. That's not bad. Is what it is.
We've seen like on other charters like Below Deck Med and stuff like that. Rusty Toddler says the tip came to $1,500 each, but we've seen to some other ones be a lot lower. Like I remember Below Deck Med, them getting like a $17,000-$18,000 tip, if I'm not mistaken.
They're getting a discount. They're getting a discount on the charter anyway. So they're not paying full boat. It's part of the, no pun intended. So it's just like, I never, honestly, one of the best tips I got was one of the lowest tips I ever got. There was an English family that we had.
Wait, you're laughing already. I don't know. Wait.
There's an English family that we had on board for a charter that never tipped. And they left us. That was the one that left everybody like 500, and they left me 2,000. And they had never left a tip. And my crew was a little aggravated with them. And I said, this is a win. This is a charter guest that was renowned for stiffing the crew. And we got the biggest tip that they've ever left by light years. And to me, that's a win. And because I don't do it for the size of the tip really is irrelevant. It's
not here, Captain Sean. Not in this chat room. In this chat room, the size of the tip is everything.
Is everything. Well, this was the quality of the tip.
The quality's good too. Yeah.
Quality. You gotta have quality tips. And that was so that was a win for me. Because I didn't expect to get anything from these guys. Interesting story. If you want to, I'll spill some tea. So I have a strict rule. It's like, do not sleep with the guests. And so
that's an obvious rule, no? Or is
that's an obvious rule. So
not for...
the chief engineer wound up sleeping with one of the guests. And lo and behold, she gave him gonorrhea.
Oh, Lord.
Well, see, now there's a
tip.
Yeah.
And
that's not a good quality tip, Captain
And
Sean.
I said to him, I was just like, and I go, are you kidding me? Because he had to come to me for medication because I'm the ship's medical officer as well, too. So we diagnosed it properly. We prescribed the right medication for him, and he was fine after that. So
some antibiotics and everything goes.
There you know, folks. If you catch Captain Sean on the street and you think you might have gonorrhea, just show it to him. He'll do an examination.
That was something that I wish never to see again because I'm like, oh my God, put it away.
Oh my God. Okay.
Lord have mercy.
We
all right. Shelly
just lost our show on YouTube.
Yeah. 200 in the room, guys. Hit that like button if you're still liking this. I'm just kidding. Shelly says, I asked this question last week. Captain Sean, would you rather ride a jet ski in warm water or a snowmobile in powder?
I would rather ride a jet ski in an ice field. So there you go.
Okay.
Oh, there you go.
You like the cold. You like that cold kind of thing.
No,
right?
it's just stunning. There's like stuff to see and do, and there's like freaking whales and seals going crazy. It's surreal. And you know, it's funny when you're doing that. I don't get cold. It's like I'm coming back after 11 hours of doing that. I'm pretty beat up and cold. But while I'm doing it, there's so much adrenaline pumping through you. You don't feel it.
Yeah. This is a good question. I'm pretty sure I know the answer, but I'm not sure. Sadie Lady says, do the captains on screen really drive the boat, or is it someone like the first mate? I saw somewhere where they were saying the TV captains don't really drive the boat.
No, that's not true at all. The like Sandy is a proficient boat handler. Lee 100% drives the boat. And the obviously I drive the boat too. So yeah, no, that's for real.
That's for real. That's the real deal. Captain Sean, I know that some people reached out to you with some questions. Yeah. And I'm curious what they are. And well, I'm curious what the questions are, but also what the answers are.
No. These are nice questions. So the first question we have from her Instagram title is Ms. Perfect, and that's per with a P-U-R-R. Fact from St. Louis, Missouri. And she goes, have you ever had someone bring on board a dog that has been a naughty dog? I'm paraphrasing the question, but has that's pooed and peed all over the boat. And the answer to that question is yes. Yes, we have. We have had bad dogs on board. We quickly trained the dogs to be good dogs on board. So that was, we've had bad dogs on board. We had this, matter of fact, the owner of a particular boat that he had this dog named, well, I won't tell you the name of the dog, but anyway, he had this dog and this dog was a little prick. And he would like poo and pee and be like, why aren't you cleaning up my poo? And so we trained him to not do that on board the boat. We had this dog whistle. And because we had an ultra suede couch, and the dog would get on it, he'd get fur, and then the girls would spend literally an hour defurring this couch. So we had this dog whistle, and every time he'd go near the couch, we'd blow the whistle, and he'd go kind of crazy. So the owner was like, "Okay, come on, get on the couch, get on the couch." The dog was like, "No way," So we trained him really well. And then she also said, "Does anyone ever bring a cat on board?" And I've never had a cat, but there was a captain that I know, and she had the cat was named Bugs. And this cat was famous up and down the East Coast. He would go to the marinas, and he was a good cat. I met her because she was actually on the dock with her cat. And this cat was, he like everybody knew Bugs. He was a good kitty. And then the second question I have is also animal related. And this is from Carissa from Copenhagen. So international, our audience is broad. And,
yes, they are. We actually have a few that watch from Sweden, Norway. So we got
Australia,
Denmark, Copenhagen, Australia. Yes.
And so have you ever had a sea animal jump on your deck? And that's with a DECK. But anyway, so
God.
She's Danish, so her accent might be a little bit. Anyway, so the answer to that question is yes. Yes, I have. Flying fish, we'd often find on the deck. As like matter of fact, I've been hit in the head with a flying fish. And then one time in Vanuatu, I was playing with a baby humpback whale with our tender, and he was jumping like literally out of the water next to us. I actually took some amazing photos of that particular whale, but he was super, or it might have been a she whale, but super playful. And the baby ones, even though they're like baby, this thing was like 35 feet long, and he's jumping out of the water. Their bellies are pink. So yeah, so that was the question on that. And those are my two questions.
Maybe it's from the belly flopping.
You know,
or they're like just little pink bellied baby whales. They're very nice.
Captain Sean, like every week, we're really lucky to have you here.
Are we though?
With your stories, with your presence, especially that you are the go-to for gonorrhea. So we know now. We know.
And the answer to that question is ciprofloxacin.
Yeah,
I didn't ask a question.
There you go.
Well, folks, and also if you don't have an opportunity to meet Captain Sean in person, go ahead and send him to his Instagram account. Any photos that you have, he'll diagnose via photo. So please, let's fill his inbox with photos of
HPV or genital wart.
He knows everything. Captain Sean, thank you so much for being here.
We love you.
We appreciate you. This is it's always a fun chat. Now we got to get back into this crazy episode of Below Deck.
Doesn't feel as crazy now, right?
Right. Yeah, not so much anymore. All right, Sean. Good night. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, Aaron D and Norma and Aaron D, everybody else. Have a good night.
Have a good night.
Bye, Betty. Thanks.
Good Lord, that's funny.
Now,
how do we get back into this?
Well, okay, so actually, I do want to say something. So, you and I obviously are big Chef Rachel fans.
Yes.
This week. Now, is it? I have to say, I do. You know, the taste of her food, that's subjective, and we know she hits it out of the park so often with guests. So when people complain about the taste, I kind of go, maybe it's just not their palate or something. I don't think, obviously, the quality of her food. But did you notice she was having some trouble with the timing? We had some dinners that went as long as 3 hours because it took so long.
Wow, the timing was really off. I was shocked. Even Fraser was feeling the pressure on how do we keep these guests happy. But, I think, too, from the moment they stepped on the boat, from the moment they had things to say about the food, she just kept wanting to one up and compete with herself. I can do better. I can do better. That's kind of the gist that I got from her.
Sure.
And she wanted to send things out perfectly. Now, I mean, these guests, literally, if it all came out at the right time, they would have found something to complain about anyways.
We saw by the end, you should have served them grilled cheese. They were happy with their panini pressed grilled cheeses that Alyssa was throwing together. So,
you know what I was kind of questioning though. It's like, you're complaining about eating so late. It's like, gosh, we're eating so late. Well, you didn't go to bed until like 5 a.m. the past 2 nights. You're not going to bed till 5 a.m. this morning, tonight, whatever it's going to be. And I'm just like, what is it such a big deal?
Isn't 8 p.m. like breakfast time for you? Like.
I mean, we don't really to step away from Alyssa and Camille because we just know they don't like each other. Like that's it, And we've kind of gotten into Captain Sandy, how she tells Fraser not to overstep in that situation. And I think it's important for the captain to make up their own minds. And obviously, she knows that there's 3 sides to every story: this one, that one, and the truth. But I'm thinking about it too, and I don't know, when is the last time Captain Sandy has worked with a good chief stew? Like, Natasha was not a great chief stew on Med. Then we had, I forgot, because that's how great they were. I mean, Hannah was kind of like the last time, but then she got rid of Hannah. And I think that she doesn't know where Fraser kind of sits, because she was even questioning his ability at one point. But at the same time, I feel like Fraser is about to wow us. Like, I just feel it coming, because it was a slow start for him. And I know, it's going to be amazing. But I'm like, Captain Sandy hasn't really had a good chief stew to kind of really judge what a good chief stew is.
Well,
especially
not
lately.
below deck maybe, but she's
There
been
you
at
go.
it for years, so I have to think she's worked with some really good ones. Yeah, I think let's go to some other people. The Ross and Katie thing real quick. Ross seems so smitten with Katie until a hummingbird's beak worth of alcohol hits his lips. He loses his mind and he starts hitting on any female in the room besides Katie, which is weird because she's sitting there raring to go, and he he just all of a sudden doesn't see her and just only
What
sees
is that?
It's so weird to me. And she's sitting there in a bikini, like, hey, and he's like, yeah. So, anyways, boom.
But he flirts with it when he's sober. He flirts with her.
He's all about her.
Now, would you say that maybe possibly Ross is an alcoholic?
You think?
Who would you say that possibly maybe? Camille. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I don't know. This guy, I mean, it's like this habitual thing he keeps doing, which is really odd. And yeah, some people, I mean, this is kind of what I was thinking too. Rusty Toddler coming back at us with another good comment. Ross comes off as a sex addict. I mean, he says he's plowing, multiple people and living in basically full-time orgies sometimes. It's like,
listen, at least we can give one thing to Ross. If I'm going to give any positive thing, is that Captain Lee and Captain Sandy have both commented on how well the deck crew is working, and they're working just fine without a floater. They didn't need a Camille. I don't think the interior needs a Camille. I think they can work on this, the way it's going. But just to go back to Chef Rachel really quick, I think whatever happened between Chef Rachel and Bravo, whatever made her lose her shit before BravoCon, not go to BravoCon, kind of let all that stuff out there, man, they really need to figure out a way to mend fences. Like, Chef Rachel she's killing it this season. She's a good chef. She's toned it down to the point where now when she opens her mouth, it's like something funny. It's something fun. It's not, she's just like, eat my cooter. It's not like that Chef Rachel we're getting. We're getting a different side of her. And God, man, I feel like I hope they can mend the fences, because I'd like to see her back.
I mean, this, as much as this is watching a real crew do their work sort of thing, this is also a television show, and you're casting. And when you have a cast member who is like beloved by the audiences, you just look foolish for at least not attempting to keep them around. Yeah, it's really fun. I really don't want to see a season of Below Deck without her yet. I know she won't be on it forever, nobody is, but she definitely seemed like she was down to be with the show for at least another season. Really, we're being told that it was whatever this altercation is that happened between her and them is the only thing stopping it. So it's like, I don't know. They should do right by her. I mean,
I wonder how they're.
We don't know. Maybe she's totally.
We don't know. We don't know.
But,
I mean, from what we've seen, there has been a back and forth. Obviously, she wasn't happy about things. She did call out a few other people from different shows, which, I mean, I'm not going to say she was wrong in what she said, but yeah, it would be interesting to. I mean, just think about it. Like, who are we going to have? Like, this show films like now. It starts filming in February, I believe.
Oh yeah.
So they get the season down here. And I also have heard that there might be, I mean, obviously someone has to replace Captain Lee. He's not coming back. So they have, I've heard that they have someone who might be able to mix it up a bit. And that should be interesting. In a sense that this captain might act like more of a crew member. So that would be kind of interesting to see, maybe a really good captain, but with less leadership skills. That would be interesting. I don't know if that will happen or not, but there's a short list. Okay, so this moment, every time that Alyssa and Camille have a fight, they always have kind of like this chance to make up, right? And you see it kind of going good, like on either side. You're like, oh, you're right, Alyssa. And then Camille turns away. Or you see Camille, it's going really good. And you're like, Camille, like, yeah. And then Alyssa goes away. It's just like, it's crazy. But I just don't think Alyssa has liked Camille since day one. And I don't think Camille gives enough shit to do anything on the boat, let alone make someone like her. But do you think that they needed to apologize to each other in that moment? Where they go into where they're in the crew quarters?
No, it's all so fresh. Like, I think it's more just everybody chill out. Like, that would have been my advice. I don't want to see you two talking to each other right now. I don't care about apologies. That can all wait. Just relax, go out. Let's get some dinner. Let's have a couple drinks. Maybe not you two, but let's just relax. We could talk about it tomorrow. This is our night off. Let's try to have some fun.
Let's go do all the shit we're not supposed to do on the boat, off the boat, on land. Speaking of relaxing, this moment, like, I like Ben, the deckhand. I like Ben. I don't see his fascination with Camille. I mean,
Well,
I'm also not a straight male, but I don't see his fascination with her. But when he steps inside to kind of almost break up the fight, it's like, no, dude, you can't do that. Remember, we talked about this, how we're only like a couple weeks in, how this entire show only films within 6 weeks. You cannot step in on girls' business, especially when they're fighting. And it was funny for
Camille. That
Camille.
was the dumbest move. I mean, first of all, have you ever seen it go over well when two people are arguing and a third person goes, "Hey, everybody, calm down"? Like, never works. And then, yeah, they have Ben step in and give this whole, hey, girls, hey, ladies, let's stop fighting. That went over about, as well as a lead balloon. So it's, yeah.
For Camille to be like, it has nothing to do with you, like, relax. It's like,
Yeah.
okay. I think the biggest MVP of this season so far is definitely Haley. This is someone that I would, if I was on a charter, I would love to be around. Her energy is kind of infectious. I really like how she deals with these situations, but I thought it was such a shame when Camille walked up on Frasier and her when they were out, and Haley is complimenting Camille and having her back and almost saying, we have to give her a chance. And then Camille's like, "Oh, I hear you talking about me. You know what? I don't care what you think about me." And just starts getting very defensive, overreacting to like the max. And Haley's like, "You know what? This is it." I'm done with her. I'm done with her. What do we think about Haley this season so far?
She's great. I don't hate that idea of her being second stew next season. Fraser at the helm, her as second stew.
That could be great interior crew.
That would be super strong. Get us some crazy guests. So the drama's coming from the absurdity of some of these eccentric guests as opposed to, fighting amongst the crew. I don't know. I think she would be great. I mean, she's responsible. She gets her job done. She's got a good energy. She's a go with the flow. She's the show must go on kind of gal. She's been awesome.
Yeah, she's been awesome. And I'm also kind of happy that the next morning no one really remembers the night out. I think that was really good. We should have left it at that. We should have that's it. We don't remember. It's good. Let's move on. But of course, that's just not how it works. Now, we're hitting an hour here. And Josh, I have to ask you, what are you looking forward to in next week's episode?
I mean, come on. The big what the hell are you asking this question for? We've just started to see what is probably, I mean, I guess Fraser confirmed it this week on Andy Cohen's show.
Watch What Happens Live.
Yeah, Watch What Happens Live. I guess he said for sure she is fired. So we want to see that go down. Look at that face.
The shock factor.
The shock. Yeah, that's what I mean. We want to see that. And then I do want to see how that interior crew handles their shifts, only having the 3 of them. I think they could do it, but let's not underestimate that size of that boat. It's the job plus it adds mileage. These guys got to travel a lot. That's tiring. And so to have just the 3 of them, it'll be interesting. I mean,
Fraser says they can handle it. They think they can handle it. We've seen the confidence of the crew before going in saying, we got this. And then we watch it crumble. Remember when Kyle got hurt and Natasha and Natalia had to like fill in on below deck bed and it was like a shitstorm? I feel like we're going to maybe be in the same situation and they might be like, oh God, we wish we had one more person. Although having Camille there isn't really like having one more person at this point.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I want to see. What about you?
Well, I'm curious to see because I think we have a pregnant guest coming aboard that needs to be fed every few hours. And when that was mentioned by Captain Sandy, we got one of those Rachel moments where her eyes went. It was just like, okay, well, I want to see how this works out because she just came off this charter where these guests were picky as hell. You couldn't please them. Literally, you could put like a gold plate in front of them with the best meal they've ever had. They would have found something to complain about. And like you said, they should have just been making grilled cheese sandwiches the whole time. The whole time.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I look forward to this every week. Just like the deck crew, I mean, your tip for us is hitting that like button. You guys are so awesome with it every week. It helps with that silly little algorithm. I too have been trying to be really good. Everything I watch on YouTube, and I watch quite a bit, I always hit that like button now because I realize how much that helps. And it's like, it's free. It's an easy thing to do to show my appreciation. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna hit that like button. So if you guys have had fun, just hit that like button for us. That's all we ask.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Like the chat is rolling tonight.
Yeah,
guys, we have 220 in the room. Thank you guys for being here. To recap, another episode of Below Deck this season is really giving us everything. And I think what I want to know if you guys are catching this in the replay crew is how is the season going to be now without Camille? Because this has been what we've been talking about for the past, 8 episodes, 2-3 weeks, 4 or 5. Wait, how many episodes? There's been, I'm so lost for the past few weeks. Yeah. So let me know how you think it's going to move forward without Camille and if the interior is going to last with 3. I'm not sure.
Jason and I both go in all week. I go in and try to answer all week long our all of you on the replay crew. So leave your comments, leave your thoughts, ask me questions. Let's have a conversation. If you guys are on Twitter, Jason and I are both trying to be more active on there. I'm at SeeJoshGo. He's at Jason Barrett. Is that what are you?
Yep.
Follow us, tweet with us. We're having fun. I try to live tweet the show every time, guys, and I announce I'm going to do it. And then I just get so drawn into the show that I don't want to sit and look at my phone and type. I don't want to miss anything, so I have it here to talk.
You know what? I have it down to a science now. Like I'm watching.
You're
I'm live.
Good about it.
I'm live. I'm like
it.
talking into like the phone. I'm like, hey Siri, I need you to tweet this immediately.
That's a good idea to use Siri.
But then it's just so I mean, I'm like going through every thought on Twitter, but it's so funny to see all of the feedback too, and to see what other people are saying, especially other crew members, like Gabby from Below Deck Sailing. She really, I mean, she's been there, so she really is on point with kind of what she's saying, and it's fun to watch. I know that Jennifer Beddington, one of the hosts of by Real Andy of Beverly Hills, is in the chat. Hi and bye. Listen, Jennifer Beddington, I know she live tweets. She's one of the hosts of Gangplank Report. If you guys want to check out any Below Deck adventure recaps, be sure to head over there. Adrian Gang, who is the original Chief Stew of Below Deck, and Jennifer Bennington give a really good breakdown of Below Deck Adventure. All right, Josh.
You join us live. Thanks to our mods. We love you guys. This is
thank you.
Tuesday nights. This is our party every week. Thank you so much.
Tuesday nights. And next Tuesday will be the last time we'll be in the studio.
Oh, you guys are moving to the new studio.
Because we're moving.
By the way, I have an idea I need to run by you too. But anyways,
I love it.
You guys. We'll see you next week.
See you next week. Bye, everyone.